Hello everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits and welcome to another episode of the Sock Blank Special. Imagine me doing some jazz fingers right now. In one of the previous episodes, I mixed some dyes that had Wilton's Teal, Kelly Green, Burgundy, Violet, and Royal Blue. I used between, I think, 1/4 teaspoon and 1/2 teaspoon of the various colors. I had a lot of dye left over from that previous episode, and so I thought that I would use these really bright saturated colors to create a striped sock blank. So that is what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to use some foam brushes and some of these needle nose applicators that are remaining from the previous video, mainly because I already have some full. Now, the thing with trying to do stripes is that I want to really try to keep applying the dye in a straight horizontal line. Like so. And I'm going to be doing this in various widths all the way up and down our sock blank here. So what a sock blank is, this sock blank is using two 50-gram skeins of Stroll fingering weight yarn, and they are knit together to create this rectangle. So that way when this is unraveled, you will get identical, two identical skeins of yarn. So if I do something wild and crazy or random graffiti, you can get identical skeins of yarn. Now, if I was going to try to wind yarn to do self-striping yarn, it would also be really hard for me to get two skeins that were exactly identical, especially where we see that maybe one stripe might bleed a bit into another. And so that is why it is really, really, really nice that we have this sock blank, because no matter how I put these stripes together, the two skeins of yarn will be identical. Now, I will go back over this in a second, but you can see that I'm trying really hard to stay straight, and I'm using these needle nose applicators to help me have some thin stripes across the blank to kind of keep me, I guess, keep me centered a bit. I still plan to have some asymmetry here, but the overall pattern will be a stripy one. Actually, I want to try something a little different right now and try sucking up some more color to finish this off with our burgundy. I pre-soaked my blank in just plain tap water with 2 tablespoons of white vinegar added. And I did this for maybe an hour or so. And then, you know, I removed it and used my salad spinner to remove a lot of the excess water. So these stripes are not perfect. If you really wanted to create perfect stripes, you should use grab a little bit more of this color. If you really, ooh, I could actually, this would be a good application for syringes and stuff too. If you really wanted to try to get perfect stripes, you should wind your yarn into a bunch of different skeins. And that would be the best way to achieve more perfect stripes. So some of these, like, you can see that this burgundy, there's like a wider patch here and thinner. Some of these stripes might have a bit of transition between one another. but I think that that's still going to be really pretty. So I really like these needle nose squeeze bottles, and I just picked these up at my local craft store. I really like these for applying a really thin line of dye onto these blanks. And that just gives me a really nice starting off point before I start using the actual paintbrush, which also gives me some nice control over the color application. You can also pour. Depends on how regular you really want your stripes to be. But I think I first started using these sponge brushes with my son and discovered that they're really awesome. Okay. And so the thing with both the squeeze bottle and the sponge brush is that we have really good deep penetration of the color. There's basically never more than there might be a tiny bit more than a single layer of yarn, but even with the spread out, you can see the table through it. So, let's do a thick stripe right here. Ooh, with the brushes I can get pretty thin. That's kind of cool. I'm trying to take advantage of that. The nice thing about using the brush here versus just on the skein of yarn is that it's not really sticking. So it's a lot easier to paint. But you definitely don't want to try to glide too much. It's much easier to dab, and this gives you really nice control over the color. Way better control than if I was pouring and squeezing with my fingers. So in other times I didn't care if there's a lot of white, and I don't care if there's a little bit of white, but I am trying to get pretty good coverage of the colors here. Okay, let's try to do a really thin stripe. This could end up being kind of speckled. I wish, unfortunately, this is not a blank that I am going to get to unravel for you guys. The Kickstarter backer who will get this yarn chose to have a blank that they could unravel themselves, which I am more than happy to do for them. It's just, it'd be fun to see how consistent these stripes actually are. And I did already put plastic wrap down on my work surface. Okay, that is the green. Let's do some Wilton's Violet, which we all know is my favorite. Let's go in here first. I love purple. But we also might get some cool breaking halos in here. It depends on how much coverage I really have. But again, the overall effect of this yarn is going to be a lot less, there's going to be a lot less variation than there might be in some of the other ones. But it's still going to feel very hand painted. I mean, look at this halo of the pink over here, and you can see some with this blue as well. So I think I'm going to leave some space at first right here for this thicker thicker stripe. It's kind of fun how blue this violet is reading right here. Especially next to this royal blue. But over time, I think we'll see something cool start to happen there. All right, let's do a thicker near the end. Yeah, you can see here, I'm sticking a bit more. Eek. I don't want to unravel it. There we go. Funny, but you can even start to see some of the pink and blues separating out. I really enjoy seeing these colors spread out, but I think one of the surprises might be the royal blue. Actually, we're getting a really nice halo from the teal as well. I didn't unanticipate, but I didn't think about how much breaking we would really see. I'm going back to this this guy right here. You can tell that I'm kind of focusing here. I almost feel like I'm gonna need to go like focus, focus, like we would say to our son. But I'm deliberately here not going in that space in between to allow this halo to really come in. That's so cool. Okay. I might need to go back through at some point. I've left some white sections, which I do not want to leave in the end, but I might dilute some colors or something to give some nice contrast. I think we've got some really nice jewel tones going on here. And I really like that even like in these wider sections, the stripes aren't... Whoa, so the pink is going through the green. Wow, I'm so used to pink striking super fast, but it's just really traveling. That's kind of cool. All right. I'm digging this, you guys. Where is the... Here's the royal blue. Let's do another... thin stripe there. I'm even going to do one right here. Certainly did not expect that pink to go through the green like that. That was a surprise. The royal blue is spreading out a lot more than the violet, at least right now. So this is one of those cases where my colors, the colors that I'm doing are just kind of what speaks to me at the moment versus having something with a bit of planning. Sometimes those results end up being absolutely incredible. And other times, I think the final product will be awesome, but what's happening in the middle is a little more, I guess, strange. Like our, like the red graffiti. The pattern itself is weird, but I think that the black specks will look really cool. Again, I'm really surprised by these pinks that are spreading out. That's not something I am really used to. I'm used to seeing more of like a blue halo versus the pink halo. Very interesting. The burgundy is a really fun color. Could have grabbed a syringe, but did I already say that I used my salad spinner to remove as much of the color as possible before coming in to dye? This way we can absorb as much dye as possible. This is cool. I think that these socks will be absolutely spectacular. What do you think? This is why I also kind of like starting in the middle versus starting at one end, because I can see what the colors are doing and that can help me drive how I want to paint this. Now, in the past, I sometimes like to have 2 to 3 cups of liquid to paint some yarn, but I am very amazed with how little color I feel like I need for some of this. I know we're getting more of a pink halo, but let's just... Maybe we should like speed up the last bit of this so you can watch me paint the rest, but I don't know if I have any other information to share. Look at our pretty blank. We still have a lot of dye left over, like a lot of dye, but I guess there's not too much. Uh-oh. This is why it's bad when I take off my gloves too soon. Okay. There is a lot of dye left over, and I don't know if I'm gonna need to throw it out, or if I'll be able to save it for another project. But I think our stripes are just spectacular. So now, using this plastic wrap that we have to protect our work surface, we can roll up our striped sock blank. And look, you can see that there is some white on the back, but overall, you got really, really good penetration of these colors. I do love that there's going to be some tonal variation within these stripe sections. I just think that all of this is so much fun. I am now going to microwave our sock blank on high for a total of 4 minutes in 2-minute increments. After 4 minutes in the microwave, our blank is super hot, and now we just need to wait for it to cool so we can unwrap it and wash our nice striped sock blank. Let's rinse out our striped sock blank. I really wish that I got to unwind this one. This just tells me that I'm going to need to try dyeing another striped yarn, so that way I can see how well it turns out. But I would say that for someone who likes bright colors, with a tiny bit. That's okay. This is so pretty. Alright. Let's start adding some cold tap water. I'm going to add a little bit cold dish soap, or clear dish soap. I find that sometimes adding soap helps any unbound dye kind of come off of the yarn. Because, you know, if we're going to have bleeding, I'd rather have it happen now than later, but check it out. That water is very, very clear. You know, and so if you do see some bleeding, you can add, you can, you know, soak it in water for a while and keep going. But ultimately, like, there's a reason why and even with commercially dyed stuff, that you separate whites and darks, and that you know, don't wash your reds with your whites, because dye can bleed, especially acid dyes, which can be dislodged through various methods from yarn, both with food coloring and commercial acid dyes. But anyway, this is looking really good. I mean, there might be the faintest amount of bleeding. Check out how saturated these colors are. Oh, I know they'll lighten when they dry, but I am beyond excited. And, you know, the color penetration is so good. Anyway, I'm gonna rinse this a couple more times, then put the sock blank through the salad spinner and hang it up to dry. I'll come back with some conclusions from this episode of the Sock Blank Special. Here is our dry striped sock blank. These are very Rebecca colors, aren't they? You can see that some of my stripes were more even than others, but I think that this will turn out to be really, really cool when unraveled, and I kind of wish that I could do that myself. If we take a look at the wrong side of these stripes, the penetration of color is pretty good, but there are more white sections on the back than there are on the front. This means that the stripes will have some speckling to them, which will really give it a hand-painted feel versus, you know, a hand-dyed self-striping yarn that you wound into separate sections before dyeing it. And so I think that this will create a very unique pair of socks or mittens or something. I think that because of the way the ends curled a bit, some of my stripes were not quite as straight as I intended. However, I think that this blank can be unraveled to create some pretty awesome socks. And I really hope that I get to see what this turns into. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and thank you so much for watching this tutorial on how to hand paint a striped sock blank. I wish that I could unravel this one myself, but I hope that the backer who receives this yarn will make something really fantastic and share pictures with us. Thank you so much for watching this video.